Our next presenter has worked in the pro-life movement since he was 18 years old. He worked at a regional Right to Life group in Fresno, California, and while he was there, he directed the first local 40 Days for Life campaign in that community, which resulted in some 60 lives saved, and it was during that effort that I first met our presenter today. After 12 years of full-time pro-life work, he launched Equal Rights Institute to maximize his impact for the movement. His primary passion is training pro-life people to think clearly, reason honestly, and communicate persuasively. He previously hosted Life Report, a globally listened to podcast turned radio and TV show, and he created the highly acclaimed Equipped for Life training course. His topic today is 4 practical tips for talking to abortion-minded women. And I'd ask you to please join me in welcoming the president of Equal Rights Institute, Josh Brahm. Josh, how are you today?
I'm doing great. After that intro, I've never been better. I mean, any pro-life event I get to do with you always ends up being my favorite event of the year. So
we always have fun.
How's it going?
We always do have fun when we do pro-life events together. And Josh, I'm thrilled to have you as part of Save Lives U. So before we dive too deeply in, help everybody to understand a little bit this group, Equal Rights Institute. What is ERI? And just help us to get to know a little bit about that work.
Yeah, my brother Tim and I created Equal Rights Institute 4.5 years ago in order to help pro-life people to be more like Jesus and less weird. So we do a lot of work on college campuses where we're trying things out. We go and do an outreach on a college campus. That's our lab. We're doing R&D. Stumble upon something that works really, really well. And then we can quickly train the people that we're teaching. What is it that we're finding that works the best? What persuades pro-choice students on college campuses is different now than it used to be. And so we're always trying to stay on top of what is actually working, what is actually being persuasive.
So when you are thinking about persuasion, and that's what we're going to be talking about today, some specific practical tips for talking to those who are abortion-minded. When you're thinking about persuading, tell us a little bit about, we're going to shift. This is going to be a little different than any of the other presenters today on Save Lives U. We're going to watch a video of something that you've done, and this is profound. It's brilliant, and I hope people really get their pens and paper out. But tell us a little bit, Josh, about the video we're going to be seeing and help us know the context of where this comes from.
Yeah, so 2 years ago, we created this thing called the Equipped for Life course, basically because we're really passionate about helping pro-life student clubs on campuses. And we don't want to just help the ones that we can get to physically in a year, the dozen or two maybe that we could get to. We want to help all of them, or at least, more than half of them. And so we needed to create an online course to be able to help the student groups that we just don't have the ability to get to all of them physically. We need a scalable option, basically. And as part of this, so a lot of that is practical dialogue tips and pro-life apologetics. But when you're talking to someone, and this happens at outreach, you talk to someone who says, I'm pregnant, I'm scheduled to go to Planned Parenthood for an abortion next week. That's a very different conversation than like when you're doing apologetics. And this is not an area where I'm an expert, but I was able to bring on 2 people, one who's on our staff and then Missy Stone from Students for Life, who are experts and really experienced in several counseling and talking to abortion-minded and post-abortive people. And so what we did was we took the module from that course and tips for how do you talk to people who are in that situation. It's just different than having like a philosophical conversation about the violinist argument.
All right, so here we are. We're going to watch the video clip. Pay attention, then Josh will come back on at the end together.
So we want to share with you 4 tips that you can take away for when you're talking to people who are either abortion-minded or abortion-vulnerable. So Missy, what's the first tip?
So before we even open our mouths and engage students, we have to show genuine compassion. Yes. They have to see it in our body language and how we're approaching the situation and the subject. If we don't appear compassionate from the get-go, it will close doors and people will write us off as being mean pro-lifers, the angry pro-lifers that we are stereotyped as being. And so before we do anything, we have to make sure that we are doing outreach that is compassionate and loving and kind. Otherwise, we might as well not be out there because people will be shut off to what you're saying.
Yeah, a lot of people, I think, are probably just expecting the angry, mean pro-life person. There's that caricature that we've seen on the media so often. And so, like, they might be in this place of feeling like, what is going to happen here?
Right.
And like we've said before, you get to play good cop, bad cop with the caricature of the pro-life movement that's in their head.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I've found that it's just so important for us as human beings to relate to other human beings in an emotional way that's significant to them. I say to people, if you have a hard time doing that, if you don't know how to do that, you need to get your heart right before getting into this kind of situation.
Right. Hey, like again, we're not talking about faking compassion. We're not saying, hey, you're going to be more effective if you act compassionate. We're saying if you're not actually compassionate, don't do the outreach yet. Right. You shouldn't be there right now. The second thing that we want to encourage people to always do, which is to sensitively learn about this person's situation without making any assumptions.
Right. It's so important when you're on campus and you're talking to these women that you aren't going in with preconceived ideas of what you think they're going to be like. Just like we don't want them to do that to us. Right. We don't assume that all women who've had experiences with abortions or are thinking about having abortion are this certain type of person or in this exact situation. Like, everybody is so unique and different things are driving what they're thinking, and you have to let them share their specific story, and that's what makes them feel heard and feel valued.
Let's talk about the third tip. And this was also a part of your story where you were not only listening to this person, you were not only showing compassion to her, you were sharing resources with her. So let's talk about sharing resources with people who are either abortion-minded or post-abortive.
Yeah, that's something that I find that's just really important for me. Wherever I go, I want to know where's the nearest pregnancy resource center.
Yeah.
Do I know them? Do they know me? If I come across a situation where there's somebody either hurting from an abortion or considering an abortion, can I take them there and they go, okay, Jacob's bringing somebody in, so let's listen and see what's going on. I want it to be more with the PRC of, I'm introducing you, if you're hurting from something like this or you're considering an abortion, I want it to be more like, let me introduce you to some friends of mine. These are some people I trust. If you can trust me to share these people with you. Right. They're going to care about you. I've just found that so important in taking people like from an abortion clinic. I'm not just saying, oh yeah, come with me, we'll find something in the yellow book here, or the yellow pages. Let me take you to somewhere where they're my friends. This isn't just something that I found online recently. These are some people that I know and trust.
It's also important to remember when you're offering resources to do it carefully, especially with post-abortive women, because a lot of them, especially on campus, when the situation or the experience is probably fairly recent, they haven't gotten to a place where they feel the regret yet. Right. And some of them might interpret you handing them resources as a way of saying you should be hurting or something should be wrong with you because you had an abortion. And not saying that it's going to be every situation, but you just have to be careful because some of them might find that insulting. If they're telling you, well, I don't regret my abortion, you don't want to turn around and say, well, here are some resources because you're hurting. Right. That means that you didn't hear what they just said. That
actually brings us naturally into our fourth tip, which is to share your contact info with the person. Although with the caveat, like, use your best judgment, right?
Right. You don't want to be just giving out your contact information to random people on campus. Like, this is reserved for people that you have had significant conversations with and started building a relationship with. And that even goes as far as say, like, if you're in high school and you're talking to a young woman, connect them with a girl in your group. If you're talking to a young man, you can connect them with another gentleman in the group. But just make sure somebody gets contact information so that you can follow up and give those resources. Or
someone can follow up.
Yeah, make sure she makes it to her appointment or whatever she needs. So when you're following up with people that you meet during outreaches or on campus, it's important to think about the context that you met them and what their situation was, because your follow-up with someone who is post-abortive as opposed to someone who's abortion-minded, it's going to be a little different. Someone who's abortion-minded, there's more urgency, and it requires a level of persistence because someone's life is literally on the line.
Yeah, it can get a little bit awkward.
Right. Yes, it can.
I remember I was at Georgia State University with Justice for All, and we were training some high school students. I had just had a really long, hard conversation, and I just needed a break. So I was going to sit down. I sat down for all of about 5 seconds, and two high school students, these two girls, very nice girls, they came running up to me and they said, "Hey, so we were just wondering, what if we meet someone who is actually considering an abortion?" They said, "Wait, did this just happen?" And they said, "Yeah." We don't remember the training exactly what we're supposed to do. He said, "Where is she now?" "Where's who?" "The girl that's abortion-minded." "Oh, she's over there." I started just asking them questions. So tell me, what did you learn? How did you learn it? What's going on? And then a little light clicked in my head. I'm talking to the wrong people. So I asked these two girls, I said, why don't we just go talk to her and you introduce me? And they had this squeamish, the high school squeamish
Yes.
look in their face.
I know that way.
And it was, oh, that's going to be awkward. And so now I've got another problem to work out. And I said, okay, let's talk about our options for just a minute. We've got two. We can either stay here and not have the awkward moment, and it's more likely that the child dies, or we can go over there and have the awkward moment, and it's more likely the child will live. They thought about it for about half a second, and they go, okay, we'll go.
You're very persuasive.
Yeah. She started talking though a little bit, and she came out with, yeah, I'm kind of thinking about that right now. I said, thinking about having an abortion right now? She said, yeah. I said, okay, how far along are you? And she said, I think I'm about 6 to 10 weeks, somewhere in there. I said, okay, have you ever seen a picture of a child that is in gestation about that age? And she said, no, I don't think so. So I showed her a picture of an 8-week-old child, and something shifted in her. It seemed like to me. She seemed to be expecting to see something looking more like a glob of tissue, maybe a tumor. And she just kind of stared at it for a moment, like, wow, this is what's going on inside of me. We talked for a little bit longer, and I started asking her questions about what does her support structure look like. In this case, I was trying to get her to where I could take her to a PRC. She wasn't really open to that, and I felt like she had a good support structure around her. She also told me something significant, which is that she's going to tell her parents. In my experience, when someone decides to tell their parents, the chances of them having an abortion go down. Now, it does depend on what their parents think about it. And so I asked her, and she said that her parents would not want her to have an abortion. So we talked a little bit about how and when she would tell her parents and get some of those details out. I like to help people think things through so that when it happens, they can move forward. But the urgency in the situation was significant there. I'm so thankful I got to talk to this girl. I'm thankful the high school students made the right choice. And there's just no degree of awkwardness that isn't worth going through to save the life of a child.
All right, Josh, are you still there? We're having some problems with our connection on there we go, he's back. Welcome. Sorry, Josh. So, wow, that is profound. And I've seen the actual entirety of the Equipped for Life course that comes from, and know just incredibly how valuable that is. And I really love the way it was setting the stage about those awkward moments, because I know for all of us, I mean, it's stepping out of our comfort zone to have this kind of a conversation with somebody who is abortion-minded, abortion vulnerable, at risk of losing the life of the child. But I loved how it presented that no awkward moment is more important to prevent than to work to save the life of the child and then to protect that student from a lifetime of regret. So Josh, this course has so much value. Can you just share a little bit more about the rest of the course? And then also we have something special for those who are participating in Save Lives U, should they want to go deeper and learn more of the incredible education and the formation and apologetics that Equal Rights Institute has really mastered.
Yeah, I mean, thank you very much for saying that. It means a lot coming from you. We created this course to help high school and college student groups. Like, that's our passion. I mean, I'm glad that there are adults that take our course and are affected by it, but we created this thing with like Students for Life clubs and clubs like focus groups in mind. And so we just want to help. And so there's kind of two obvious ways that we can help. One is if you took the rest of the course, we've created a special coupon code for focus groups. It's got a really hard coupon code to remember, focus, that'll work for the next week if you want to get a big discount on that. And then also if you wanted to bring us out to speak, if you were looking for something more like a kind of a standard speaking event, you wanted to bring us out to speak on practical dialogue tips or the pro-life argument that we found to change the most pro-choice minds or responding to bodily rights arguments, we would be thrilled to do that too. And you could reach out to us through our website or all the different social media things. Like, you can reach out.
Oh, I lost you for a second again there, Josh. I'll tell you, we're just having technical moments here. There you go, you're back. Oh, the joy. So Josh, let me ask this. On the coupon code, and we pull that back up on the screen so everybody can see it, where does somebody go so they can access the course and then use the coupon? What website do they go to?
Yeah, it would have been good to put the website URL on that graphic, wouldn't it? It's equippedcourse.com. So it's the Equipped course. If you go to equippedcourse.com, you'll find a bunch of stuff about why it's great. And then there's a membership. There's an individual membership and then also a group of 20 and a group of 40 at different price levels. And what you're getting is it's about 4 hours of video content. If you binge watched it, a lot of clubs watch it together. And then there's group activities. There's a podcast that's attached to it. But the modules go through habits to avoid, practical dialogue tips is what are the things that you can do to make people feel more receptive and less defensive, able to actually hear what you have to say. And then all the the pro-life arguments, trial of the toddler, equal rights argument, how to respond to rape in a way that's both gracious and compassionate, but also not holding back from the truth. Bodily rights arguments, which is critical. That's where pro-choice people really are at right now. And so it's critical to understand those arguments accurately and respond to them. There's a lot there. And that's why we created video courses, because if you need to watch it a couple of times to really get it, or download the audios and listen to it a few times, then you can learn no matter what is kind of your best learning style.
Mm-hmm. And I will just say Equipped Course, EQUIPPEDCOURSE.com. I have been through it. I've endorsed it. It's an amazing program. It's great in helping you to know how to talk to people about life in a very clear, articulate way that really reaches to the heart of the matter. And again, you could use the coupon code FOCUS to get 25% off should you feel led to pursue that course. And Josh, I just want to thank you so much for all the work that you do. You truly are an inspiration to me and to the pro-life movement, and I'm so glad that you've been able to be a part of Save Lives U today. Any closing thought you have to send off to students or those who are concerned about the crisis on campus? Just any closing send-off thoughts you would have for them?
Thanks for having me. But my closing thought would be that you can make a difference. I know that it feels like it feels like abortion's been going on for 45 years and we're not going to be able to make a difference. But I'll just tell you, and I can't tell you the whole story, there's not enough time. But I just recently met a college student whom we talked to a year ago at an outreach, and we didn't think that we had a huge impact on him. And it turns out that later that month, he became a pro-life Christian. And I only found that out because I happen to be going to his church now. You can make a huge impact on people just in having normal conversations at your dialogue-oriented outreaches. You can save lives. You can change minds. It's worth putting all the time and the effort and the stress into it. You can actually save lives doing this. So thank you so much for having us. And any way that we can serve focus groups, we are thrilled to do that.
All right, Josh Brahm, thank you very much. And let's all go out and have a few more of those awkward moments to save many more lives. Thank you so much, my friend. God bless you.
You too. Thank you.